Welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Grizzly K, and today I want to offer you updates that I've been wanting to do for a few days now, which would be in the case of Quinton Simon, as well as the case of Michael Vaughan. If you've never heard of these cases, I will link the playlist for either case in the description box as well as in the pinned comments, and I hope that you'll catch up there because there we did a breakdown of the entire timeline and all the facts you need to know. Today is really just an update. So let's start with the updates in the Michael Vaughan case. This is also an Idaho case. As you know, I've been covering the Idaho 4, the murders of the 4 students in Moscow, Idaho. So check that out as well if you haven't yet. But let's look at the updates in Michael Vaughan's case now. Boise, Idaho. Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff on Wednesday confirmed that crews finished processing the entire home off Red Wing Street in Fruitland, where investigators were looking for the possible remains of 6-year-old Michael Vaughan, who went missing from his neighborhood on July 27, 2021. Investigators have been out at the home in Fruitland since late on the night of November 11th, excavating a backyard where 35-year-old Stacy Wondra was one of the occupants. Wondra was arrested on November 12th in connection to Vaughan's possible death and charged with failure to report a death. We've also looked at documents for that as well, so make sure you catch those previous episodes if you do want to see that. Huff told KTVB search crews finished processing the entire home and yard on Wednesday. Investigators stopped digging on the property on Friday, November 18th. The Fruitland Police Department is planning to call a press conference for the middle of next week, likely Wednesday or Thursday, according to Huff. So today's date is November 28th, so it could be any time now where they might have a press conference. If there is a press conference, make sure that you are subscribed and hit the bell, because normally I go live for those, and then you can join us and chat with us as we watch the press conference together. Piatt County prosecutors said in Wondra's November 14th arraignment that she failed to notify law enforcement of the death of Vaughan with intent to prevent discovery of the manner of death. A Piatt County magistrate judge on Monday determined Stacy Wondra is currently mentally unfit to proceed. Wondra's attorney appeared in court via Zoom Monday for a status conference. Judge Brian D. Lee reset the conference for the morning of Friday, December 23rd. A preliminary hearing previously set for Tuesday, November 22nd, had already been vacated. Online court records show Lee on Monday also issued a commitment order pursuant to the Idaho law about determination of fitness to proceed in a criminal case. Wondra is being transferred to custody of the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare for treatment. The commitment order indicates that she was found unfit to assist in her own defense. Therefore, proceedings against Wondra are on hold. One day before Wondra was arrested, investigators began searching the Fruitland home after receiving a lead that came from what Huff called a very credible tip related to the disappearance of Vaughan. Failure to notify or delaying notification of a death is a felony, punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $1,000 fine if found guilty. Idaho does not have an insanity defense, but under state law, no person who, as a result of mental illness, lacks capacity to understand the proceedings against him or assist in his own defense shall be tried, convicted, sentenced, or punished, so long as such incapacity endures. Competency evaluations are conducted by at least one court-appointed psychiatrist or psychologist. While the community waits for more updates on the search, a community Facebook group has scheduled a candlelight prayer circle for Michael and his family on Wednesday, November 23rd at 6 p.m. So that already happened in the gazebo at Fruitland Community Park. Organizers ask that you bring a candle as they pray for Michael, his family, law enforcement, search and rescue, and others who are close to the case. Michael Vaughan is still considered missing, and anyone with information that may help solve the case is encouraged to reach out. Submit tips to Crime Stoppers at 208-343-COPS, which would be 208-343-2677, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. I really hope that they have been able to recover Michael Vaughan's remains. As much as I hate that sentence, I really hope that they have, so that there can be closure for the families in this case. I mean, it was really terrible to watch Michael's mom learn online that police are suspecting that her son is deceased and buried in the backyard of the Wondras. And it would be even worse if they didn't find anything. I really hope that they do, so that the process for justice for Michael Vaughan can begin. Okay, now let's look at updates in the Quinton Simon case. So I'm first going to read you a Chatham County Police Department Facebook post from 6 days ago, as well as their most recent one. They say the Chatham County Police Department has arrested 22-year-old Leilani Simon and charged her with malice murder, concealing the death of another person, false reporting, and making false statements in connection with the disappearance and death of her 20-month-old son, Quinton Simon. If you missed watching all of her interviews and just everything about this case, please check out the playlist on this case. I mean, in hindsight, it's even more shocking now to think how she was pleading with the public, for sympathy and crying through her teeth. That's a different one to lying through your teeth. She was literally like, like trying to show us she's crying while slurping through her teeth. No one really bought it, but I mean, it's terrible. A 20-month-old little boy and his mom is charged with malice murder, concealing the death of another person, and false reporting and making false statements. I am going to play you Leilani Simon's mother, Billy Joe's audio, where she spoke to another YouTube content creator and was talking about handing Leilani over to the FBI. Now, what's interesting is that Billy Joe actually had full custody of the children because Leilani had lost custody of the children based on her behavior. And so for Billy Joe to have left the kids in the care of Leilani Simon could result in Billy Joe also facing charges. We are yet to see. On Friday, November 18th, 2022, law enforcement searchers uncovered what they believe to be human remains at the waste management landfill site. This afternoon, tests at the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia, provided preliminary confirmation that the remains are human remains. Further testing, including DNA evidence, is being conducted to confirm that the remains are in fact human and whether the remains are Quinton's. Leilani Simon reported that Quinton was missing from their home on October 5th, 2022. On October 12th, the Chatham County Police Department announced that Quinton was believed to be deceased and his mother Leilani was the prime suspect. On October 18, 2022, the Chatham County Police Department and FBI announced that evidence led them to believe that Quinton's remains were at the waste management landfill in Chatham County, and a massive search began to try to locate them. During the landfill search, law enforcement officers meticulously combed through 1.2 million pounds of trash over a 30-day period. The working conditions were grueling and hazardous, and searchers knew that the chances of finding Quinton were low. Historically, the FBI says landfill searches are only successful 5% of the time. The FBI's expertise was instrumental in solving this case and locating Quinton, said Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley. They are the undisputed experts in missing child cases, and they were with us at every turn in our investigation. Their expertise, manpower, and resources are unmatched, and we are tremendously grateful for the FBI's assistance. The landfill search was a massive operation and was made possible by the efforts of many law enforcement agencies in addition to the Chatham County Police Department and FBI. The GBI, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and Georgia Department of Natural Resources all provided law enforcement officers who assisted in the search process. The Savannah Police Department, Savannah Fire Department, Chatham Emergency Services, Chatham Emergency Management Agency, and Chatham County Occupational Safety all provided support services. We are indebted to the many law enforcement and public service agencies who assisted with this search, which was a crucial part of our investigation, said Hadley. Hadley went on to thank the civilian staff, sworn officers, and detectives who have worked tirelessly since Quinton was first reported missing. Every member of the Chatham County Police Department has been impacted by Quinton's case, he said. I'm proud of how our department performed under the tremendous strain that comes anytime a child is missing. Our Criminal Investigations Division deserves special recognition. Their devotion to Quinton and making sure this crime did not go unsolved is an example of police work at its finest. Our detectives worked tirelessly and were determined to follow every lead and uncover every piece of evidence in this case. Chief Hadley also thanked the many people in Chatham County and around the world who offered their support during the search for Quinton. I would like to thank the many people who showed their support for our department during this incredibly difficult and important investigation. We appreciate those who kept their faith in the system, who kept their faith in us and our investigative process, and for those who waited patiently for the evidence we needed to make sure Quinton has every opportunity to receive the justice he deserves. Here we look again at a mugshot of 22-year-old Leilani Simon. Quinton Simon's mother. Leilani's other two children are now with Child Protective Services, which is, as sad as it is, probably a very good thing. And here, the latest post they have on their page on Facebook says, Quinton Simon case arrest. The Chatham County Police Department has arrested 22-year-old Leilani Simon and charged her with murder in connection with the disappearance and death of her son, 20-month-old Quinton Simon. Leilani Simon was taken into custody a short time ago and is being transported to the Chatham County Detention Center, where she will be held while she awaits a bond hearing. We do not anticipate any other arrests in connection with the case. Leilani Simon reported her son missing from their home on October 5th, 2022. Since that time, millions of people have followed Quinton's case and have been awaiting answers. We will be releasing more details soon, and Chief Hadley will meet with news media. However, we wanted to report this development to you without delay. We are deeply saddened by this case, but we are thankful that we are one step closer to justice for little Quinton. I mean, just look at him. How can anyone harm a child? I never get it. These child cases are so incredibly difficult to cover because it's so heartbreaking to think that some people will literally harm children. And now in an update from the New York Post, they say Quinton Simon's mom, Leilani, pleads not guilty to murdering Georgia toddler. The mother of Quinton Simon, the 20-month-old Georgia boy who vanished last month, pleaded not guilty Wednesday after being charged with his disappearance and murder, according to a report. A public defender entered the plea on behalf of Leilani Simon, 22, at Chatham County Court. Simon was initially expected to appear in court herself, but ultimately did not, according to Fox 28 Savannah. The judge denied bail, and she will not be allowed out of prison on bond. She first reported her son missing at 9 a.m. on October 5th. He was last seen at the Savannah home she shared with her boyfriend, her 3-year-old son, and her mom, and an infant little girl as well. She allegedly told the police that she believed someone took her son. I mean, she changed her story a million times. No motive has been released, but her mom, Billy Jo Howell, previously said she doesn't trust her daughter. She hasn't always done the right thing, Howell admitted in an interview. Police ultimately said they believed Quinton was dead and spent weeks combing through a landfill for his remains, which they believe was found on November 18th. To get the denial of bail, prosecutors could reasonably have argued that Simon posed as a flight risk after she left her town and went boozing with her mom in October while authorities were searching a landfill for her son's remains. While she did not break any laws by fleeing her home, where media had been camped out, it was seen in bad taste that the grieving mother and her mother, Howell, chose to make the trip. You don't say. They were spotted on the deck of Stingrays on Tibby Island just outside Savannah, Georgia, where they were drinking Patron shots in the deck area, being loud and laughing, a restaurant employee told the Post. In an interview with WTOC-TV in late October, Leilani said that she still hoped Quinton would be recovered. We want him back in our arms holding us. I'm not going to read the rest of what she said because it's just going to make me angry all over again. We've gone over that, so please check out the playlist and then you can get angry too. So here you can see pictures of the landfill. Oh my word. They say the FBI is searching a waste management landfill in Chatham County for remains of little Quinton Simon. In all of that, to think that they were able to eventually find human remains is truly remarkable. Quinton's biological father, Henry Bubba Lee, also said Leilani had blamed him for the disappearance, telling authorities he had allegedly abducted him in the middle of the night, something he strongly denied. They asked, did I have him? And when was the last time I was in Savannah? They told me Leilani said I came and got him overnight. And of course, as we know, or maybe you don't know, Henry Bubba Lee lost his mother and father. I mean, he just found out that his son was presumed dead. Then his mother died. And then his father was hit by a car and died on the side of the road. I mean, that's a huge loss. His son, mother, and father. I really feel for him. If we just back it up to Billy Joe's claims, she said that she believed that the 20-month-old toddler drowned in the bathtub after Leilani and her boyfriend allegedly got high and that they left him there. Hal reportedly made the shocking claims in an 11-minute phone call with the missing child's father, Henry Bubba Moss. According to the Daily Mail, Billy Joe reportedly said in the recording, "I feel honestly and frankly, Bubba, I'm not going to lie to you, I feel like there was an accident. I feel like something happened while Quinton was in the bathtub and he drowned. And they were both high. That's my theory." When Quinton's dad told her on the phone that they should have just gone to the police if something like that happened, Hal added, "If you're high as hell, man, you do stupid shh." Leilani reported Quinton Simon missing on October 5th and allegedly pinned her son's disappearance on his father, claiming that her ex took the child from his home in Georgia. According to police, Leilani's boyfriend, Danny Youngkin, was the last person to see Quinton around 6 a.m. It wasn't until after 9 a.m. that Leilani reported him missing. Now, the thing is, Leilani very likely discarded of her 20-month-old son, who we still don't know exactly what happened, but in the trash, which is, of course, why then the FBI went to look at the landfill. Here is another picture of Quinton Simon. Okay, I could honestly go on and on about this case, but as I say, there's already a playlist where we've done a deep dive of everything from the beginning to the end up to now. This is an update video. So what I'm going to do now is play the audio portion of Billy Joe talking to another YouTuber and explaining how she turned her daughter in. Maybe she thinks it's going to get her some brownie points so she doesn't get arrested too. I'm still hoping that she gets arrested because she left the children in the care of someone who she didn't trust, who lies a lot, and who is now charged with malice murder of this little boy. So I'm going to play that audio. Then at the end, remember I promised you guys the press conference with enhanced audio? So what I've done is took the press conference because when we watched it live together, oh my word, I still have the resentment in me. Remember we were watching it on one of the main news channels, and then as we got to the Q&A portion, then the presenter just completely interrupted the Q&A portion as if it wasn't important. But meanwhile, it's one of the most important parts of a press conference is the Q&A section, right? So anyway, that kind of annoyed all of us. We were sitting there scrambling then for a new link. I saw it happen to many YouTubers as well, like the exact same process. So we're scrambling for a new link and then missed some of the questions and then, you know, all that. So what I've done now is got you guys a nice clean copy and boosted the audio so that you can listen to the most recent press conference in the best audio possible and get ready for if there is another press conference or, you know, whatever happens next. I will keep you posted on both of these cases. So make sure that you are subscribed. And then I know it sounds annoying when YouTubers are like subscribe and hit the bell, but really the bell is for you. It gives you the notifications as long as your back-end phone settings and notifications are allowed. But it gives you notifications for when I next go live or upload, or if there's something like breaking news or whatever it is, I will keep you posted. So just make sure that the little bell is on. If you wouldn't mind sharing this episode with hashtag Michael Vaughan and hashtag Quinton Simon, I would really appreciate it. It really helps to categorize everything really nicely together on social media, which is of course the point of hashtags. So I'm going to now play the audio, then the press conference, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.
I get a call from the place that she was at telling me that Leilani has checked herself out. Well, they're wanting me to come pick her up. And I've already made it very clear that Leilani cannot come back to my home. So I made a call to the FBI. Whenever I made the call to the FBI, I let them know what was happening in the current circumstances. I took her to Chinatown Buffet and let her have a meal because I knew already that it was going to be the last free world meal that she was going to have. Mm-hmm. So I leave from there and I take her to the FBI office. And I sit at the FBI office for 4 hours. And I hug her And I tell her that the best thing she can do is just be honest and tell the truth. Now, Leilani still at this time is holding to her words that she didn't do this. Now, because of the way I feel and the way I believe, and because of the circumstances that has happened over time, I don't know that I can believe my daughter. But there is a part of me that wants to.
Good evening, everybody. Jeff Hadley. I'm the Chief of Police for the Chatham County Police Department. I'm accompanied this evening by Will Clark with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This afternoon, Chatham County Police Department detectives arrested 22-year-old Leilani Simon and charged her with malice murder, concealing the death of another person, false reporting, and making false statements in connection with the disappearance and death of her son, 20-month-old Quinton Simon. Leilani Simon is being held at the Chatham County Detention Center and is awaiting a bond hearing. We do not anticipate any other arrests in this case. She has been the sole suspect from the beginning. On Friday, our search teams at the waste management landfill found what they believed were human remains. This afternoon, the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia confirmed that they are, in fact, human remains. Additional testing, including a DNA analysis, is being conducted, and we have every reason to believe that this will confirm the remains are Quinton's. This is a heartbreaking development for everyone who loved Quinton, for the many people who came to know him after his disappearance, and for our department. When we first received the call that Quinton was missing, we were hopeful that we would find him alive and unharmed. But as we have been telling you for weeks, all of our evidence pointed to his mother being responsible for his death and disappearance, and his remains being found in the landfill. I would like to thank the many people and agencies who worked hard to ensure that Quinton was found, that he would have a proper resting place, and that justice would be served. First and foremost, I want to thank the FBI. We are incredibly grateful for their invaluable assistance. Their expertise, their manpower, resources, and guidance are unmatched and were crucial in our efforts to find Quinton. They were on the scene within 3 hours of Quinton being reported missing and have assisted with every aspect of this investigation. The resources they poured into the landfill search are extraordinary and are the reason that we were able to find Quinton. I can't thank them enough. Chatham County Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division also deserves special recognition. Their devotion to Quinton, to making sure this crime did not go unsolved, is an example of police work at its finest. Our detectives worked tirelessly and were determined to follow every lead and uncover every piece of evidence in this case. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and Department of Natural Resources all had officers searching the landfill alongside our officers and the FBI. The support of the Chatham County Emergency Management Agency, Chatham Emergency Services, Chatham Occupational Safety and Health, Savannah Police, and Savannah Fire also were invaluable in this massive effort. Finally, I would like to thank the many people who showed their support for our department during this incredibly difficult and important investigation. We appreciate those who kept faith in the system and waited patiently for evidence we needed to make sure Quinton has every opportunity to receive the justice he deserves. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Will Clark, who has some comments from the FBI.
Good evening. My name is Will Clark. I'm the Senior Supervisory Resident Agent of the Savannah and Brunswick offices of the FBI. 1 month ago, we began this landfill search alongside Chatham County Police Department with one purpose in mind, and that was to find Quinton and to bring him home. On Friday, search crews from the FBI and Chatham County found what we preliminarily believe are partial remains from a human child. Those bones were immediately sent to our lab in Quantico, Virginia. Additional testing for potential confirmation is now underway. It could be days before we have final results. What happened to this 20-month-old child is unthinkable. No child should be harmed by anyone. let alone the person in their lives that should be their protector. This investigation does not end here. There is more work to do. The FBI, along with our law enforcement partners, will continue to find justice for Quinton. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll appreciate that. And we'll try to answer some questions that you may have. Just be mindful that there's many we may not be able to answer, but we'll be willing to take some questions at this time.
You charged Lonnie with that you guys found bones in the landfill? Is that?
We found human remains, yes, ma'am.
Chief, do you believe the point that Quinton was put in that dumpster, do you believe that he was alive then or had died before he was in the dumpster and then made it to the landfill?
Could you, I didn't hear the first part, I'm sorry.
Do you believe that Quinton Simon was alive when he was in the landfill? Do you believe he died before he was put in that dumpster?
I can't answer that question.
You've charged Leilani with murder. Can you speak on whether you think it was accidental or intentional?
I can't speak to that.
Can you talk a little bit about what evidence you all confirmed or learned on Friday led you all to go ahead and make that arrest specifically for today versus earlier on?
Well, as we had said from the beginning with the landfill, we had every belief that Quinton was there in the landfill. Having found what we found on Friday and the preliminary findings from the FBI that we got today led us to make an arrest today. We feel that we have a very strong case. We have put thousands of hours into this, and we believed that this was the right move today to be able to do that. She doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving, quite frankly, if I can go off script a little bit. Quinton deserves that.
You said that you didn't believe any other arrests would be made. Are you guys looking into Billy Joe at all?
We are not.
And so you, just to confirm and kind of clarify that you all were looking to find some sort of remains from the body to go ahead and move forward with an arrest?
That's correct.
Chief, would the charges have been the same in this case had you not made that discovery on Friday? Say if this case had continued and the search found nothing in the landfill, would you still have been able to make a case for Quinton to have justice, or how significant was this find?
Well, it was very significant, obviously, for obvious reasons. We do believe we had a strong case otherwise, but that would have been in counsel with the Chatham County District Attorney's Office, but we believe we had a strong case otherwise.
You've certainly been very personal about this, and you said in that landfill that day with the picture behind you, you said, we want to make sure we bring Quinton home and we give him a final place of rest. You wanted him to be able to make sure he wasn't in that dump. On Friday, how personal was that find for you?
Well, it was very personal, quite frankly. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to that. I mean, knowing the hard work that went into this investigation, everybody, not just Chatham County Police Department, but everybody that chipped in, the FBI, GBI, DNR, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, the civilians, you name it, from A to Z, we were 100% committed to bringing justice for Quinton. And to appreciate the amount of human effort, the amount of human emotion that goes into a case like this, and to appreciate, hopefully, that this comes to a conclusion in terms of a conviction and things of that nature. You know, you have a lot of emotions about that. You also have a lot of emotions as just a general human being, as a person who has children. You see the impact that has on people. So if you step back and take a moment to kind of absorb that, I think that if you didn't have any feelings about that, you might have to ask yourself a few questions.
Chief, like, what is evidence collected outside of the search in the landfill, the remains that you guys found on Friday? Was there any evidence you guys found in the searches you guys did of pool, cell phones, or computers, or anything that also led to the arrest?
I can't answer that.
Has Leilani's status as a flight risk changed, or did it change prior to the arrest?
No.
Chief, you say this is preliminary. What, you would assume there isn't other human remains in that landfill, but until you get it fully 100% confirmed that these are Quinton's remains, what makes you confident to make the arrest today?
I can't get into the high level of detail, but just on some of the preliminary information that we got from the FBI, we have a high level of confidence that those are Quinton's remains, and we felt that we needed to make the arrest today because that was the right thing to do.
Chief, there's a lot of pressure in the
remains, what kind of remains are we talking when you say human remains? Any more specific details about?
No, ma'am. Go ahead,
Chief,
Brandi.
this case has been one that has made national news.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of pressure against you personally, with your name out of the mouths of protesters, out of the mouths of the people in the community.
Mhm.
You've gotten a lot of pressure about making this arrest. Standing here today, knowing that you have this key piece of evidence that you just said, what kind of message do you send to the community? For the people, A, that had your back, that said, yes, we're going to wait on the police to do this, and then to the people who said this arrest should have happened almost 50 days ago?
Well, you know, I didn't honestly feel a lot of pressure, quite frankly, only because I believed in our investigative process, the expertise that we were seeking that was around us, you know, having a little bit of experience, you know, in this profession. I understood people's perspective. I understood that, you know, some people had their own strong feelings about when an arrest should be made and things that were going on. But we stayed focused on what we know and what we know how to do. And in conjunction with the FBI, we stayed the course. And so to those folks that supported us, to the citizens that believed in us and believed in our department, I thank you. And for those that had questions, that's their right to do so. This is America. You can have all the opinions you want, but you know, I'm just so proud of our team and where we're at today.
As far as today's conclusion, do you feel like there's a sense of relief as far as you all, officers, FBI agents, to come to an arrest to go ahead and move forward with this case?
Sure there is. You know, I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say that there was, you know, some weight lifted off of the organization and particularly those detectives and investigators who were completely and 100% committed to seeking justice for Quinton. So there is a little bit of relief, but be mindful there's still a lot of work to do, and they're dedicated to doing that, and we want to see this to successful prosecution.
I got a two-parter. Is the landfill search over?
We haven't made that decision yet. That's a decision point that we'll come to once we're able to get some more analysis done, and we'll confer with the FBI and see what the best course of action is.
And Leilani is also charged with making false statements. What false statements did she make?
I can't get into that.
Is she cooperating with police right now? Is Leilani cooperating with police?
She's at the Chatham County Detention Center right now.
And as far as to go back to the initial question that I asked about whether or not you guys found bones in the landfill, because Mr. Parker said bones and you said human remains, which one is it?
Well, human remains. Some of that are some of them are human bones, and some other evidentiary matter. So.
And as far as the bond, is there, do you all have any updates as to when that will be, the bond hearing, when that will be?
I do not have that confirmed. I do believe it'll take place tomorrow, but I don't have any time or any confirmation on that. We did, you know, take her to the detention center rather late in the day, so I'm sure that information will come out pretty soon.
Leilani made a statement to me that she would turn herself in. Was there any talk of giving her that opportunity?
No. Right.
Chief, you said in the beginning that when we're at the landfill, you said that there was a very specific dumpster that this child was put in. Can you just give us the location of that? How far this was from the house where Quinton was last seen?
I can't give you that information.
I just have one more question. Can you just give
Last
us
question.
an estimate on how long this analysis could take of what you guys found?
It could take up to a week. And I have one last comment, and I want to thank you guys. Because just like sometimes law enforcement gets the short end of the stick, you guys get the short end of the stick too. And you guys have been amazing, our local media, throughout this. You've been fair, you've been direct, you've asked good questions, and you've, you know, given us some deference when we needed some deference. And so I just wanted to say thank you for your work that you do every day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.